Before we begin today's video, we have to warn you that it contains spoilers for episodes 2 to 4 of Tales of the Jedi. It's a fantastic series, so if you haven't seen it yet, absolutely go watch those episodes before coming back to this video. But with that out of the way, let's talk about Dooku. Longtime viewers of this channel will be familiar with this title trope where we state that someone did nothing wrong, then go on to talk about how, actually, they were 100% in the wrong. This isn't going to be one of those videos. If Tales of the Jedi have shown us one thing, it's that Dooku in canon was a far more sensitive and idealistic person than the fandom ever gave him credit for. Canon Dooku wasn't some crazed, power-hungry monster, but a man pushed to extremes to right the wrongs he felt only he could see. In today's video, we'll be talking about his deepest motivations and why he ultimately fell to the dark side while trying to do the right thing.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
In this context, the right thing was nothing more than upholding the duty of the Jedi. In serving the light side, the Jedi were supposed to be peacekeepers of the galaxy, warriors who stood for justice, equity, and peace. The Jedi Code served as a guideline for how a Jedi was to go about upholding their sacred duty. It instructed the Jedi to be rational rather than emotional, to seek out the facts of a situation before acting, to remain impartial when passing judgment. In their role, Jedi were to remain independent and impartial, removed from politics and societal ties that would risk coloring their perspective and making them biased. This meant that, in any conflict that arose, the Jedi had to be objective and support the side that was in the right, no matter who that was. An excellent example of true impartiality from Legends was when Revan and his supporters defied the Jedi Council and Republic and went to aid the Outer Rim during the Mandalorian Wars. Revan and his Jedi brethren were able to recognize that their council and the Republic were in the wrong and acted against their orders to try and restore justice. That said, Jedi were also expected to uphold law and order. Were they to find themselves on a Republic world, for example, they were bound by the laws of that world. At the same time, however, they existed outside that system and had a lot more flexibility to act than, say, local law enforcement did. For all that they weren't political, there was no doubt that the Jedi held political power. In theory, fulfilling their duty meant using their political weight to enact positive changes in the galaxy. Unfortunately, that's not what they ended up doing. For an organization that was supposed to remain politically neutral, the Jedi Order did an absolutely terrible job of not picking a political side, not just during Dooku's time, but pretty much in every era the Order existed. In the time of the Old Republic, when the Galactic Republic was facing off against the true Sith Empire, the Jedi Order was pretty much synonymous with the Republic. Back then, at least, the Jedi could make a case for themselves. They were standing in direct opposition to the Sith-led Empire, the balancing force that kept the two galactic superpowers in check. During Dooku's time, however, they had no such excuse. Tales of the Jedi does an excellent job of presenting the deeply biased nature of the Jedi Order in just 30 minutes. What we and Dooku see between episodes 2 and 4 is a Jedi Order that's become synonymous with the Galactic Republic. Politicians and common folk alike don't think of them as impartial peacekeepers, but enforcers of the Senate's will. A Senate that is, in many ways, deeply flawed and corrupt even without its Supreme Chancellor being a Sith Lord. We see senators that care more about their own personal wealth than the well-being of their people, law enforcement that follows orders blindly, and Jedi that seem more concerned with protocol than doing something about injustice in the galaxy. In episode 3, for example, when Mace Windu and Dooku are sent to retrieve the body of Master Katri, Windu insists time and time again that they retreat and allow the Jedi Council to investigate the matter further, even when he's directly confronted with proof that they're being lied to. To reiterate, Windu, a Jedi many would associate with decisive action, insists they leave, return to Coruscant, report their findings to the Jedi Council, allow the Council time to convene and come to a decision regarding the matter, wait until the Council decides to send another party to investigate, if they decide to, and then go to uncover the truth of what really happened to Master Katri. Dooku, on the other hand, pushes politely but firmly and gets to the bottom of it all within a few hours. From this example alone, we see a Jedi Order bogged down with unnecessary bureaucracy that's not only actively impeding it from helping the citizens of the Republic, but skewing their favor. Early on in the episode, Dooku tells us through some helpful exposition that only members of the Jedi Council are able to interfere in local matters. This begs the question, what are the rest of the Jedi good for then? The answer, Dooku finds, is serving the Senate blindly. In truth, the Jedi Council serves the Senate, and individual Jedi are expected to obey the Council blindly. When your Jedi headquarters are located on the capital world of the Republic, one might say any pretense of impartiality goes straight out the window. But it wasn't just the Jedi Order's political compromise that turned Dooku away from the Jedi. The other fatal flaw Dooku saw in the Jedi Order was their refusal to adapt. Anything that challenged the status quo was rejected rather than considered, and Dooku could see how it weakened the Order's ability to react to the galaxy's real needs. Tales of the Jedi once again gives us an excellent example. In Episode 4, Qui-Gon Jinn informs the Council of his encounter with a Sith Lord on Tatooine that we know to be Maul. Yet, despite Qui-Gon's reputation, his claims are dismissed. Jedi Master Jocasta Nu, the Chief Librarian, only comments that Qui-Gon had always had an active imagination, much like his master. The Jedi Council, on the other hand, believes him, but it is their wisdom to not act on such matters without extensive deliberation and caution. That's the position Jedi Master Yaddle explains to Qui-Gon and Dooku, who already knew the Council would do nothing. In the end, the Council's inaction led to Qui-Gon's death at the hands of Maul, and inadvertently led to Dooku forever turning his back on the Jedi. This was, of course, not the only time the Jedi Order failed to act on what lay clearly before them. We could argue that Master Yoda, Obi-Wan, and the other Jedi failed to help Anakin when he needed them most. They were aware of his relationship with Padme, but failed to guide him through the difficult emotions it elicited. What the Order's unwillingness to confront uncomfortable truths resulted in were jaded Jedi easily manipulated by Palpatine. Even in Episode 4 of Tales of the Jedi, we see Dooku's sorrow at having to dispatch Master Yaddle. He doesn't want to kill her, but he's been pushed too far already to turn back now, and Palpatine is offering him the opportunity to remake the galaxy without the Republic's corruption. Confronted with an Order that refused to listen and rejected different perspectives and opinions, Jedi like Dooku had no real choice. If the Order refused to change from within, Dooku would have to tear the entire system down and weed out the Republic's corruption himself. In the end, he was pushed to create his own rebel alliance in a way. The Separatists were the rebels fighting against the corrupt Senate. Although he eventually resorted to less righteous methods to accomplish his goals, Canon Dooku started out as an idealist who only wished to help the people of the galaxy the Senate had forgotten about or directly exploited for profit. And honestly, we can't bring ourselves to disagree with his motives. But what do you make of this new canon interpretation of Dooku's motivations? It's no secret that, in Legends, Dooku was portrayed as nothing more than a power-hungry fascist hiding behind pretend idealism. Which version of him is your own personal headcanon? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, and as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.